The U.S. government kidnapped a man from a foreign airport. No arrest warrant, no courtroom, no extradition treaty. This wasn't a movie plot. It was a real operation, and it happened in broad daylight. July 5th, 2014. Valana International Airport, Maldives. A 29-year-old Russian tourist walks toward passport control wearing flip-flops and sunglasses. He's relaxed, joking with his girlfriend, already thinking about the flight home to Moscow. Sunburned, smiling. Just another wealthy vacationer leaving paradise. But inside his laptop bag is something far more dangerous than a weapon. Enough stolen credit card data to fuel a global criminal empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And it wasn't supposed to happen. He believes he's untouchable. And for years, he has been. He chose the Maldives carefully, a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. No legal pathway, no courtroom battle, no risk. Once he boards that plane, he disappears behind Russian protection forever. Across the terminal, two men in casual tourist clothes watch him closely. No badges, no visible weapons, no backup. They have only minutes. If they fail, the most notorious carder on the planet vanishes for good. If they succeed, they trigger one of the most controversial captures in cybercrime history. Because what's about to happen isn't an arrest. It's a snatch and grab that will bend international law and turn a luxury vacation into a one-way flight to a U.S. prison. At passport control, nothing seems unusual. The officer scans the passport, pauses, then calmly says, "Sir, please step aside for a routine check." At first, the man doesn't react. Routine checks happen all the time, but then two uniformed Maldivian police officers appear behind him. Instantly, silently, perfectly timed. Too fast, too coordinated. His girlfriend's smile disappears. His own confidence cracks. He's escorted away from the terminal into a small holding room. No windows, one table, one chair. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The door clicks shut. Minutes pass. No explanation, no paperwork, no questions. That's when the realization hits him. This isn't immigration, because no one is supposed to touch him. Not here, not anywhere outside Russia. The door opens again. Two men step inside. Casual clothes, calm expressions, American accents. One of them speaks. Romanseleznev. He freezes. "You're coming with us." No charges, no warning, no legal explanation. Just 6 words that shouldn't be possible. Roman explodes. The chair slams backward. The table tips. His voice fills the room as panic turns into rage. Officers rush in to restrain him. And in that chaos, Roman reaches for the one thing that matters more to him than his own freedom: his laptop. Because inside that machine isn't just data, it's his real identity. Not a tourist, not a rich kid on vacation, but one of the most dangerous cybercriminals the U.S. government has ever pursued. This is the part most people don't understand. Romanseleznev wasn't just skilled. He was protected by blood, by borders, and by politics. His father, Valery Seleznev, was a prominent member of Russia's State Duma and a close ally of the Kremlin. That connection wasn't symbolic, it was armor. Inside Russia, Roman wasn't hunted by law enforcement. He was warned. When American investigators identified his online aliases or traced servers linked to massive credit card breaches, information leaked. Roman would disappear overnight. Handles abandoned. Infrastructure moved. Digital footprints erased. In 2009, U.S. agents even shared evidence directly with the Russian authorities. The next day, Roman vanished from his known accounts. Untouchable. and while shielded at home, Roman attacked abroad. Starting in the early 2000s, operating under aliases like NCUX, Track2, and Bulba, he pioneered a brutal but effective model of cybercrime. He didn't target banks. He targeted restaurants, hotels, and small businesses across the United States. Using custom point-of-sale malware, Roman infected payment systems that processed everyday card transactions. Customers paid for meals. Hotels checked in guests. Everything looked normal, but in the background, the malware silently skimmed credit card data, track information, expiration dates, PINs. Thousands of cards per breach. Tens of thousands sold daily. By 2014, more than 2 million credit card numbers had passed through Roman's hands, causing over $169 million in verified losses. The stolen data was sold on underground marketplaces, digital black markets that functioned like eBay for fraudsters. Buyers turned stolen digits into cash, luxury goods, and untraceable payouts. Roman's cut was enormous. He spent it freely. Lamborghinis, private yachts, Bali villas, 5-star hotel suites costing more per night than most people earn in a month. Photos seized later showed Roman posing with stacks of cash, supercars, and exotic vacations, a life built entirely on other people's losses. And he bragged about it. On dark web forums, Roman mocked investigators. He knew extradition requests from the United States went straight into Moscow's shredder. The FSB had his back. Contacts inside Russian security services tipped him off whenever pressure came close. For years, U.S. investigators could only watch. Every formal request bounced back. Every border was a wall. Roman understood the rule perfectly. Jurisdiction ends at the frontier. As long as he stayed inside Russia, he was untouchable. But after a decade of getting away with it, arrogance crept in. Roman wanted a break. He wanted paradise. Roman didn't just want a vacation. He wanted certainty. Turquoise water, private villas, no paparazzi, no extradition treaties, a place where borders still meant something. He researched carefully, country by country, treaty by treaty. One destination kept coming up: the Maldives. Remote islands scattered across the Indian Ocean. A tiny government. Luxury resorts insulated from the outside world. And most importantly, no legal obligation to hand criminals over to the United States. To Roman, it felt like immunity. He booked an overwater villa at a 5-star resort, more than $20,000 for the week. A personal butler. A private deck that dropped straight into the sea. Absolute privacy. He saw freedom. What he didn't see was the digital ripple his airline booking created. Nearly 8,000 miles away, inside a U.S. Secret Service database, an alert flashed. Roman Seleznev. Destination: Malé. An analyst stared at the screen. For the first time in years, the man they had chased across servers and continents was outside Russia's shield. But celebration came with a problem. The Maldives had no extradition treaty. A formal arrest would fail. A diplomatic request would alert Moscow. Roman would receive a warning and vanish forever. Standard procedure meant losing him. So the agents started thinking differently. If they couldn't extradite him, they would expel him. The plan was radical. Fly agents in as tourists, work quietly with local police, use immigration authority instead of criminal law, declare Roman an undesirable alien, detain him briefly, transfer him directly to U.S. custody. No court hearings, no judges, no public paperwork. It was risky. Careers were on the line. Diplomatic fallout was inevitable if anything leaked. But one senior official made the decision. "We can't win this in a courtroom," he said. "We have to win it on the ground." 2 Secret Service agents arrived in Malé days before Roman's departure. No badges, no credentials. They carried snorkeling gear, tourist clothes, cameras around their necks. They blended in. That night, inside a modest police station near the airport, ceiling fans hummed above a tense meeting. Evidence covered the table. Screenshots of underground marketplaces, spreadsheets of stolen card numbers, reports from American businesses drained overnight. Millions in losses. The Maldivian officials listened in silence. Their country dealt with petty theft and passport issues, not global cybercrime empires backed by political power. The agents made the pitch simple. No extradition, no headlines, just immigration authority. Detain him briefly at the airport. Hand him over quietly. Say nothing. After hours of debate, the police chief agreed. On one condition: absolute secrecy. If the Russian embassy found out early, the operation was dead. A Gulfstream G550 was positioned at the executive terminal. Official paperwork listed it as a medical charter, patient transfer to Asia, the real destination Guam, U.S. soil. The trap was ready. July 5, 2014. Roman checked out of his resort relaxed and confident. He joked with his girlfriend on the ride to the airport. Sunburned, carefree, flip-flops. Sunglasses. A man who believed he had beaten the system. At passport control, the officer scanned his document. A silent alert flashed on the screen. Pre-programmed hours earlier. The officer didn't react. "Sir, please step aside for a routine check." 2 uniformed officers appeared instantly. His girlfriend reached for him, confused. An officer gently blocked her path. "Ma'am, please wait here." Roman was escorted into a holding room. The door closed. Moments later, the 2 American agents stepped inside. "Romanseleznev," one said, "you're coming with us." Recognition hit like a punch. Roman exploded. The chair crashed backward. The table flipped. He fought desperately, young, strong, terrified. As officers restrained him, Roman grabbed his MacBook Pro. Encrypted drives, live sessions, passwords, everything. He hurled it toward the door, shouting in Russian, "Take it!" An agent lunged, caught the laptop mid-air. "Keep it awake," he told a Maldivian officer. "Don't let it sleep." The screen was still unlocked. One sleep cycle and the encryption would lock forever. They had the man. Now they had the evidence. Handcuffed and screaming, Roman was rushed through a side exit. Monsoon rain pounded the tarmac. An unmarked SUV waited, engine running. As they sped away, an agent's phone buzzed. 5 words. The Russians know. Roman's girlfriend had reached the embassy. Diplomatic pressure erupted instantly. At the executive terminal, the Gulfstream waited. Roman refused to move. "This is kidnapping," he shouted in English. One agent leaned close. "Yes, it is." They carried him up the stairs, strapped him into a seat with medical restraints. Leather seats, polished wood, a surreal contrast to the violence. Roman glared. "My father will destroy you," he said. "This is war." The lead agent didn't respond. "Enjoy the flight." The pilot requested clearance. The tower hesitated. Orders crackled over the radio. "Hold position." The pilot looked back. The agent nodded. Throttles forward. Engines roared. The jet rolled down the runway, ignoring commands. Rain sprayed across the windows. Then liftoff. The Maldives disappeared beneath the clouds. Roman sat silently. 12 hours later, the sun rose over Andersen Air Force Base, Guam. The wheels touched U.S. soil. Jurisdiction changed. Roman Seleznev vanished into federal custody. No cameras, no press conference, just gone. Prosecutors opened the laptop. Still logged in, sales dashboards, buyer lists, transaction logs, emails, passwords. A decade of cybercrime laid bare. In 2017, Roman Seleznev was sentenced to 27 years in prison, the longest sentence ever given to a hacker in U.S. history. Victims finally saw accountability. But in August 2024, Roman was released in a high-profile prisoner exchange and returned to Moscow under Kremlin protection. Justice delivered, then interrupted. The operation remains debated: brilliant law enforcement or a dangerous precedent? Roman Seleznev's downfall began with one careless vacation. A loophole became a trap. Arrogance met determination. And the world watched a superpower step outside the rules. If this story kept you watching, subscribe for more real operations the headlines never fully explained. See you in the next one.